I had wanted to be a Marine since a quite young age. The way they carried themselves, the way that they wore their kit. In particular, this organisation called Royal Marines. Green berets and their camouflage cream, and it all just seemed really exotic, really cool. If I can be someone like that, then that feels like progress. So I joined 98. I remember flying in there in pitch darkness, in the back of a Chinook helicopter with just a red light on, so you can vaguely see the insides of the cockpit. And we've been circling around in the Arabian Gulf just waiting for the green light. The green light came. Here we go, fellas. We're in 8,000 miles or whatever from home. As we progressed effectively beyond the point of no return and feasible escape routes, the temperature just plummeted. The cold weather injuries that started presenting themselves felt like arthritis starting to develop in my body. My joints would stiffen up and become painful. I could feel my creativity diminishing, my motivation diminishing. I think I would be lying and most people would be, but at the same time, it's frightening as well for the very obvious reasons that you
Tommy, there was a specific night of horror which you and your fellow ex-Marine Steve Howarth talked about, which occurred on a Norwegian mountain plateau about an hour north of Tromsø, within the Arctic Circle. What do you remember about that?
A night of horror that could probably apply to most nights in Arctic Norway during the winter. The Marines, as you might know, every year will deploy up to Arctic Norway for a number of months over the winter. And this is all in the name of developing and maintaining an expertise in mountain and cold weather warfare. What better place to do it than Arctic Norway? And the nature of your time out there is taking people who've never been to Norway ever before and developing their abilities, their skills, their ability to survive, to operate in such hostile environments. And this is done through an incremental process where the pressure builds up over time, the conditions that you're exposed to, the terrain that you find yourself operating in, the daylight hours of which there aren't many, just ratchet up as you go along. And on this particular night, we were probably about 2.5, 3 months into this particular deployment, and this would have been 2005, I think. We had, Steve was the commander of Zulu Company, an outfit within 4-5 Commando, approximately 120 men. I was a commander of 4-5's Recce Troop, approximately 30 odd men. We were co-located together, and we had free rein, really, as a body to decide where within the terrain and where within the environment we wanted to conduct this particular exercise that we were part of. And Steve and I, we both thought, let's go as high as possible. Let's get right up above the tree line, up onto the top of the mountain plateau, the full force of the elements, and let's just bring everything together. So that's what we did. And over the course of 3 or 4 days, we played soldiers up in the mountains. And on the final night, which was the final night of this particular exercise, there was a nighttime ski march that we had programmed in across a particular mountain plateau. And it was 20, 30 kilometers, something like that. And as we were setting off, I remember just feeling the sensation on my nose, the way that the breath, or rather the way that the air feels as you breathe in. You can tell that the temperature has dropped really, really suddenly. The wind picked up. We did a thermometer check before setting off, just to confirm that this was within the bounds of safety and all the rest of it, and it just was. So we decided to go for it, and we launched ourselves, me, Steve, and 150 blokes, up into the mountains, across the plateau, heading from A to B. And as we progressed effectively beyond the point of no return and beyond what could have been feasible escape routes, the temperature just plummeted. The wind picked up. The the temperature probably would have been somewhere in the region of -25, -30, something like that. Which is workable with the correct kit. But if you add wind to that,
chill.
then the wind just exacerbates the cold and just makes it so much colder and so much harder to operate. And it's the middle of the night. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You can't see anything at all. The wind's howling. It's absolutely freezing. And Steve and I, we've both been out to Norway quite a few times before, as had the vast bulk of the guys who were up there with us. But of course, some of the younger lads who never had been before, this was their first time. And over the course of what became the night from hell, just the cold weather injuries that start presenting themselves up on top of the mountains, which we had no ability to do anything about other than just keep on going, just started to present. And it was ultimately a situation that we stayed in control of and brought it to a safe conclusion. But it was a night not without a degree of concern, just because of how isolated and exposed we were in the elements, away from help or rescue should we have actually needed it. I had wanted to be a Marine since really quite young age.
How young we talking?
12, 13.
Oh wow,
that sort of age. But as an adult, just the greatest gift I think you could ever give a child as a parent is the freedom to go out there into the world and to be encouraged to learn your way, to learn from your mistakes, to find your own path, for them to not jump in the way and haul us out of danger's way, or to try and step in and protect us from the danger that we were quite evidently walking into. And I think what that did for the three of us, because incidentally, we come from a completely non-military family, but all three of us joined the forces.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I can't remember exactly where it came from, but just this awareness of the military as a thing. And in particular, this organisation called the Royal Marines. They had their green berets and their camouflage cream, and there was a mystique and an aura to them. And even back then, as a young boy, it all just seemed really exotic and really cool. And I remember thinking, if I can one day, when I grow up and become an adult, if I can be someone like that, then that feels like progress. It feels like progress. And I suppose as I got older, and the more I learned and came to know about a potential career in the forces, I was seized by the opportunity, again, if I could ever be good enough and be selected to become an officer in the Marine.